Hello, everyone. Well, you all saw the latest NBC poll Sunday. 71% of Americans believe the country's headed in the wrong direction. So what are we doing in the Senate this week? We're having a cloture vote on what is called the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. Tomorrow, the assumption being that something has happened to the Voting Rights Act. Of course, nothing could be further from the truth. The Supreme Court did not strike down the Voting Rights Act. It remains against the law to discriminate against people on the basis of race in any state in the country with your election procedures. In fact, this is a Trojan horse to carry a lot of other provisions that the Democrats have wanted to enact through the earlier voting rights bill that we've already considered and rejected. Clearly, they want to change the subject. They want to change the subject away from how the American people feel about this administration, about the reckless tax and spending bill, onto a non-existent problem with this marching out of the John Lewis Voting Rights Act again. I repeat, the Supreme Court did not strike down the Voting Rights Act. It's still on the books. There's no evidence right now anywhere in the country that states are engaged in suppressing the vote based upon race.
The Biden administration is overseeing the worst border crisis in America's history. Before it's all said and done this year, there will be over 2 million people, or about 2 million people, who will come into this country illegally. And now, to make matters worse, the administration is considering paying people who are here illegally and are suing this country $450,000 per person to come into the United States. And if you add that up, families, multiple people in the families, that could get up over $1 million real fast for people who are here in this country illegally. That, if you think about it, is 6.5 times the median average income in this country. It is 4.5 times what is paid to the families of people who have lost soldiers in combat. It is more than most of the families in 9/11 received from the government. This, ladies and gentlemen, is an insult to the hardworking taxpayers in this country. The Biden administration's ideas, there isn't a day that goes by around here where there isn't a horrible idea that comes out. And we've been dealing with that on a daily basis now for the past several weeks. But this is an idea that just is got to be done away with. The American people are not going to tolerate the people who work hard in this country to try and take care of their families having their government pay $450,000 per person to people who come here illegally. This needs to be stopped in its tracks, and hopefully the administration will come to its senses and see that it is.
The Biden administration is clearly out of step with the American people. Everyone here has seen the national polling numbers that show only 22% of Americans believe that the country is headed in the right direction. The American people know what their concerns are, and they're very different from the misguided obsession of the Biden administration. The American people are really worried about inflation and how it's taking a bite out of their paycheck every week, so their dollars don't go as far. Instead, the Biden administration wants to raise trillions of dollars in taxes and trillions of dollars in spending. The American people are concerned about the fact that when they go to
Folks, this Friday I will be announcing one winner of a free $300 Amazon gift card. And if you'd like to enter the win, all you have to do is subscribe to my channel and share this video with your friends and family. Now, Senator Joe Manchin says that he has chief concerns that will need to be addressed in order to secure his vote for the $1.75 trillion economic package. Things like climate change and taxes must be addressed, according to Manchin. That's in a hopeful sign for Democrats, but Manchin did not rule out the ambitious time frame that Chuck Schumer laid out earlier. He put the bill on the chamber floor during the week of November 15th. This means we could see lawmakers reach a deal before the end of the month. Manchin has raised far more concerns than any other senator, and he held a news conference Monday to publicly cast doubt on the emerging deal, while warning that he could ultimately vote against it, as he called it gimmicks. Folks, speaking to reporters, Gottheimer said that he's been pushing for full reinstatement of the deduction as part of the deal for taxes, and though he would not say how long he wants that reinstatement to be in effect. House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Richard Neal said that the committee is still discussing the deduction. According to a committee aide, a proposal on the table would repeal the $10,000 cap for the 2021 and 2025 tax years. It would then be reinstated for 5 years after that. There is some good news for those of you that live in California. If you are eligible for a California stimulus payment and have not received it yet, it's highly unlikely. It's highly likely that your payment is coming through the mail. The California Franchise Tax Board is distributing the 9 million stimulus payments via both direct deposit and paper check. And the agency said that the most direct deposits were made by October 31st. The next wave of paper checks have been sent out, but it could take weeks before your check hits the mail. To this point, about 4.5 million payments have been made, and the tax board expects that all payments will have gone out by the end of the year. Whether you receive a direct deposit or paper check depends on which option you checked on your tax return. A provision in the former president's tax plan has become a sticking point for some Democrats as they work to reach a deal on the spending package. A group of moderate lawmakers are pushing to repeal the so-called SALT deduction cap in the reconciliation package. Democratic senators have vented their displeasure at a lunch meeting with Joe Manchin and with the lack of progress on the spending bills. Our stimulus bill, everybody, is being held up by several members in Congress. And Democratic lawmakers said they gave Manchin an earful after he accused his colleagues of using games and gimmicks. So while Democratic leaders set a goal of getting a framework agreement by the end of October, senators say it's becoming clear that a bill is still weeks away from being finished. Democratic senator who attended the meeting said colleagues are upset that policies that they have worked on for years, like national paid family leave programs or the child tax credit payments, are being curtailed by Joe Manchin. According to the resentment, Democratic senators complained that Manchin has not yet signaled that he will support whether the final version of the Build Back Better Act emerges, despite optimism from President Biden. Manchin punctured any impression that he tactically supported the White House framework, even though it was tailored to address concerns about the overall cost. Nancy Pelosi is also working on this bill. She said for a generation, House Democrats have been fighting to deliver real prescription price negotiations that will lower cost. She said the deal will lower prescription prices for seniors and reduce their out-of-pocket copays and establish a $2,000 out-of-pocket limit for senior expenses. What do you think about Speaker Pelosi, everybody, and her work on the fourth stimulus? Is she doing all that it takes? Tell me in the comments below.